Hey, it's your girl, your favorite paralegal, aka Cassandra Lynn, and welcome to Legal Doc Talk 24/7. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. All right, let's tap into the ASAP Rocky criminal trial. Y'all, this is going to be, there is actually a few trials that I'm going to keep a watch on during this 2025 year, but ASAP Rocky is one of them. He actually pleaded not guilty, and we'll tap into that here in just a second. In regards to an incident between him and his former friend Terrell Efron. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right. And trial is actually starting at the end of this month. On the 21st is when they start making their jury selection. But I do want to highlight a couple of other lawsuits that is in connection with this criminal trial, and that is the assault and battery lawsuit that Terrell Efron has filed against ASAP Rocky, and then also a defamation lawsuit that was also filed naming ASAP Rocky as the defendant. But there's another one that ended up being filed by State Farm Insurance, which is ASAP Rocky's homeowners insurance. And they ended up filing a suit against ASAP Rocky and Terrell Efron, but have since then dismissed Terrell from that case. So it's just really against ASAP Rocky. But we're going to tap into all of that, but this is something that I am watching from the beginning. So, because I've always, any other trial I have missed. So it's kind of unique that I get to, start from the beginning and see how this plays out. So we're definitely going to tap into this, and, I'm going to catch you guys up as well as myself, because there wasn't a lot of stuff that I knew about the situation, and so that when trial starts, then we are all on one accord and we know what's going on. So let's go ahead and tap into this. So on August 15th, 2022, the attorney's office ended up filing the district attorney's office in Los Angeles ended up putting out a press release advising that ASAP Rocky was being charged with assaulting a former friend. And it reads, LA County District Attorney George Gascon announced today his office has filed charges against the artist known as ASAP Rocky for an alleged assault with a pow pow against a former friend last November. Discharging a gun in a or a pow pow in a public place is a serious offense that could have ended with tragic consequences not only for the person targeted, but also the innocent bystanders visiting Hollywood, said District Attorney Gascon. My office conducted a thorough review of the evidence in this case and determined that the addition of a special pow pow allegation was warranted. Rakeem Mayers faces 2 counts of assault with a semi automatic weapon, or, yeah, firearm or weapon, with allegations of personally using a pow pow. It was filed on August 15th, 2022. The arraignment was actually scheduled on August 17th. And then also, let me see, it says on November 6th. So this is actually when the incident happened. So on November 6th, 2021, during a heated discussion in Hollywood, Mayers allegedly pointed a semi auto pow pow at the victim. In a subsequent confrontation between parties, Mayers allegedly drew the semi automatic pow pow and powed it twice in the direction of the victim, prosecutors said. And it said that this case remains under investigation by the LAPD, the Robbery Homicide Division. Now, mind you guys that November of 2021 this happened. I believe in 2019 in Stockholm, Sweden, ASAP Rocky was also found guilty of an aggravated assault. He got into a little scuffle with some people over there, and they actually gave him a conditional sentence where he didn't have to do any additional jail time. But he was arrested on July 3rd, 2019, I believe. And he was sentenced to a conditional sentence, which, included that he didn't serve any jail time. One thing you don't want to do is go overseas across waters and commit crimes, because their jail is not the same as our jail. Even some of these jails in America are not great, but there was a big, big, big debacle about the conditions in another country, specifically in Stockholm, Sweden. So he was dealing with that in 2019, only to come back in 2021 and, go through this with a former friend. All right, so this is the press release that came out August 15th, 2022. What I Let me see, what do I want to do? I'm gonna show you guys the his criminal case file, and then we can go into the video that the judge actually reviewed. So here are the counts of the assault person with a semi-automatic pow, and then an assault. He ended up having two charges. Okay, two charges. Let's see. So proceedings. They have a trial readiness conference in 2 days, just to go before the judge to see if they are prepared for trial. They have to make sure that they have all of their evidence as exhibits, submitted to the court, and any last minute dealings they can resolve before the actual jury trial, which starts on the 21st. Let's see. So what I wanted to do. So he was arrested on August 17th, 2022. I believe he was at the airport when he got arrested. And his bond was $550,000. That's wild. Um, One thing I do want to say is that he pled. Where is it at? I think it was on this screen that he pled not guilty. If I am, there we go. I was looking for it. So August 17th, 2022, he entered a plea of not guilty. On January 8th, 2024, he also submitted a plea of not guilty. All right. And so here we are at the jury trial, because he's like, he is going to fight this. Now, what I want to show you guys is what was played in court. If you have not seen this, then that's a good thing. If you have, then definitely. So while that is loading up, so pretty much this is surveillance footage from every angle of where the incident took place. So the judge at that time did state that even though they didn't actually see any of the pow pow happening, they heard the pow pow, if that makes sense. Okay. So they had to find surveillance of all angles to kind of get a storyline of what transpired that day. So let's tap into this right now. Hopefully, y'all can make out what's happening. Yeah, so as I stated, you can see the movement and the activity that was going on, but we really couldn't make out actually seeing the pow pow go off. But like as I stated, they heard the pow pow go off, and this is coming from the judge. Okay. So I know that is part of the evidence that will be presented in court. So just be mindful of what is at play. Um, Once again, they have to prove that their defendant was actually um, harmed in any way. They're going to have to prove that because the state will always have the burden of proof. And obviously, ASAP Rocky is fighting this. That's the reason why he pled not guilty to both of those charges. So that is the criminal portion of that. So that the jury selection will start on the 21st of January, and I will tap into it and be ready with you guys. Now, turning over to the civil suits. So Terrell has filed two suits against Rakim, aka ASAP Rocky. Now, this first one is for assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligence per se. And I'm going to break each one of these down because the thing with this is the first two civil lawsuits are going to be self explanatory, right? The State Farm one is going to be a little challenging because it's like, okay, well, why are we bringing State Farm up? Was he at home? And we're going to read that to determine exactly how they play a part and why State Farm feels that the need to go ahead and file a suit against ASAP Rocky. So Terrell ended up filing assault and battery civil suit. This was August 10th, 2022. So this has a civil suit. Now, the thing with this being, uh this suit is going to, I believe, I need to check the docket, but I believe that is at stake. So it's on a pause to determine what is going to happen in the criminal suit. Okay. So this is just the civil side of things, but it will determine what will happen. Well, it's going to what let me back up. The outcome of this will be based on the outcome of the civil suit. There we go. Got that out. All right. So here we have the plaintiff Terrell Efron complaints of the defendant and each of them and for a cause of action. So we have Rakim Mayers, aka Aesop Rocky, as an individual, as well as those 1 through 15. So if and when they do determine the other individuals that were there with him, they will include him in the suit and they will update and amend the complaint. As of now, there has been no amended complaint filed because, and that's the reason why. Otherwise, I would have pulled the amended complaint instead of just a regular complaint. Um, Let's see. So it shows that he lives in Hollywood. Okay, so general allegations based on information and belief at the time of the incident and all times referenced herein. Defendant was a prominent recording artist, producer for RCA Records, Sony Music Entertainment, ASAP Worldwide, and Polo Grounds Music. On or around November 6, 2021, defendant contacted plaintiff and requested to meet the plaintiff at plaintiff's location in Hollywood, California. On or around November 6, 2021, defendant in fact met up with the plaintiff in Hollywood, California, and initiated a verbal altercation. During this altercation, and while in close physical proximity to the plaintiff, the defendant pulled out a pow pow and purposefully pointed it in the direction of the plaintiff and fired multiple pow pows. Upon seeing defendant produce and point the pow pow in the plaintiff's direction, plaintiff was in immediate fear for his life. As a result of the defendant firing the pow pow at the plaintiff was struck by the pow pow projectile and fragment, which required the plaintiff to seek necessary medical attention. A large portion of the incident was captured on video. Following an investigation by the Los Angeles Police Department, the defendant was arrested. First cause of action is the assault. A defendant purposefully or with reckless disregard brandished a pow pow in close proximity to the plaintiff and threatening in a menacing manner. Defendant purposefully or with reckless disregard raised held the pow pow in a threatening manner towards the plaintiff, thereby threatening the plaintiff such that any reasonable person in plaintiff's position would be placed in immediate fear of grievous bodily harm. As a result of being placed in fear of immediate grievous bodily harm, plaintiff suffered and continues to suffer physical, mental, and emotional injuries. Y'all know that because this is a civil trial, he's going to have to submit those medical records showing that he was injured. So I'm very curious as to exactly how bad it was. Plaintiff alleges that the acts and omissions of the defendant were willful, malicious, intentional, oppressive, reckless, and or were done in conscious disregard of plaintiff's rights, welfare, and safety, thereby justifying the award of punitive and exemplary damages in the amount to be determined by or determined at trial. He's also charging him, or not charging, filing for a cause of action in regards to battery. It states that once again, defendant purposefully and with reckless disregard pointed a pow pow at the plaintiff and pulled the trigger, causing pow pow fragments and projectile to contact plaintiff's person that cause him harm, purposefully or with reckless disregard, intended by and through his actions to cause plaintiff psychological, mental, and emotional harm. Because of defendant's actions, plaintiff suffered psychologically, mentally, and emotionally. And all of this was willful as far as the defendant goes. The plaintiff alleges that the acts and omissions of the defendant were willful, malicious, intentional, oppressive, reckless, and were done in conscious disregard of plaintiff's rights, welfare, and safety, and to be justified given an award of punitive and exemplary damages to be determined at trial. Excuse me. We have intentional infliction of emotional distress. Defendant knowingly and unlawfully brandish a pow pow towards the plaintiff. The defendant purposefully or with reckless disregard caused the pow pow fragments and projectile to hit the plaintiff. The conduct of the defendant was extreme and outrageous. It caused the plaintiff severe emotional distress, and the plaintiff should have known that that his acts would have caused severe emotional distress. It claims here that the plaintiff continues to suffer severe emotional distress and has been prevented from attending to his usual occupation. I don't know what that is. Plaintiff's damages therefrom are unknown to them at this time. Now, mind you, this is 2022. So hopefully they know the extent of the injuries and they know how much his medical bills are, because that's something that they would have to present at trial once that time comes. And then the last cause of action was negligence. Under Penal Code Section 245A2, it is illegal to commit assault upon another person with a pow pow. Under Penal Code, the same section, when he unlawfully aimed a loaded pow pow and pointed it in the direction of the plaintiff, that's when ASAP Rocky violated that penal code. This action was a substantial factor in causing the plaintiff to suffer psychological, mental, and emotional harm. The psychological, mental, and emotional harm of the plaintiff suffer was the exact harm that Penal Code Section 245A2 is designed to prevent. The defendant acted with legal justification or excuse when violating Penal Code Section 245A2. And what Mr. Terrell is praying for is general damages exceeding $250,000 to be proved at the time of trial. Once again, depending on if he's claiming psychological, mental, and other type of injuries, he needs to make sure that he produces you know, documents and bills from a psychiatrist, from the ER, from whoever, whatever medical provider you treated with. He needs to have those documents because those will be considered his general damages. Special damages for X-ray, medical, future medical, and sundry expenses as may be proved. The prejudgment allowed pursuant to section 3287 and 3330 of the Civil Code of California, and any and all other interests allowed by law. Loss of earning and earning capacity as may be proved. Once again, if he is saying that he has been unable to work, then he needs to provide documentation showing that, I used to work. Here is like my previous year tax returns. Unfortunately, I didn't get to work this year because of the incident that happened, and he has to prove that through medical documents. So all of this comes together. He's also asking for punitive damages to be proven at the time of trial, the cost of actually bringing this suit against ASAP Rocky and the other defendants, and whatever other relief that the court deems just and proper. All right, so this was entered on August 10th, 2022. Mind you guys that this is going to be put on pause until the criminal portion of this is actually completed. Then they'll know how to move into this direction. Because let's say they go to the criminal trial plays out, and they find ASAP Rocky not guilty because he didn't do anything. If that's being said, then how would you have medical it? And it all goes back and forth, because I know that even though they have to produce their medical records here in a civil suit, they're also going to have to do that in the criminal trial. Because if he's saying that ASAP Rocky pointed a pow at him and fired, and he got hit, well, you need to make sure you produce documents to show that you actually got hit. Otherwise, you don't have a case in neither part, civil or criminal. All right, so that is the complaint with the alleged, assault and battery. Then Tyrell goes on about a good year later and files a defamation lawsuit against Joseph Tocopina, and Siegel de Oreo, which is a corporation, and ASAP Rocky. And okay, so this is actually the law firm. Oh gosh. So he files a lawsuit against the law firm and ASAP Rocky, and I'm assuming that this is the law firm that is representing ASAP Rocky. So let's see exactly what he says. On November 6, 2021, Mr. Mayers, known as ASAP Rocky, brandished, aimed, and fired multiple pow-pows from a semi-automatic firearm at plaintiff, injuring plaintiff. A large portion of the incident and in particular the pow-powing was captured on video. Mr. Mayers was subsequently detained and charged with 2 felony counts of the assault with a deadly weapon, a felony with a potential custodial sentence of 9 years. He is awaiting trial. Plaintiff brought a civil action against Mr. Mayers, alleging causes of action for assault and other torts. In response to plaintiff's lawsuit, defendants commenced a press campaign to impugn and malign, plaintiff, acting in his capacity as an attorney at Tacopina Law and acting on behalf of and at the direction of Mr. Mayers. gave several interviews in which he stated without limitation the following. Now, this is a defamation lawsuit. So, Terrell has filed a defamation lawsuit against the law firm and ASAP Rocky based off of what was said in a couple of interviews. And it says what? In response to plaintiff's lawsuit, defendants commenced a press campaign to impugn and malign plaintiff, painting him in the press as a liar, a money grabber, and a blackmailer. This is crazy. All right, so let's see what he said. Rocky didn't commit a crime. It was an extortion attempt by a former associate who threatened to make false criminal accusations if Rocky didn't pay him. It's a lot of extortion claims going out there. Mr. Tocampina has two eyewitnesses who backed Rocky's story. Not only that Relly wasn't hit by bullet fragments, but that no pow pow was even fired. Relly has made up the story in a get rich quick scheme. ASAP Rocky is the victim of a failed shakedown and fabricated shooting, pow powing accusation orchestrated by his jealous former friend ASAP Relly. Mr. Mayers didn't pow pow plaintiff by any stretch. The incident is a false scenario at the heart of a plain and blatant classic attempt at extortion. Plaintiff had been badgering Mayers for money before he allegedly initiated a physical altercation at a face to face meeting and then tried to spin the confrontation into a pow powing claim. Plaintiff is a failed associate, ex associate of Rocky's, and he's jealous. Plaintiff was trying to get money from Rocky. He wanted Rocky to support him. He made it clear. There were repeated attempts where he tried to ask for money in lieu of not causing problems for Rocky. That's what he said. We have all this memorialized in text messages and otherwise, so it's in extortion. Them text messages to get you messed up. Plaintiff tried to attack Rocky, and some other guy got involved, and he punched some other guy in the face and knocked his teeth out. And of course, now according to him, he's a victim. Now, remind y'all, these are things that were said by this attorney on behalf of ASAP Rocky, and Relly or Terrell is making it seem as if this is defamatory. So these are what he's saying is defamatory statements against him. Rocky has been accused of assaulting someone with a pow pow, a former friend of his, someone who clearly made jealous of Rocky and accused him of assaulting him with a pow pow. I will tell you this, if they don't dismiss the case, he will be going to trial because he is not guilty. It is a clear extortion play. I have proof of extortion before the charges were brought. He's asking for millions and millions of dollars. We have this memorialized rock solid. It is a shame that they brought this case. Thus, the reason why ASAP Rocky pled not guilty and he is taking it to trial. Because otherwise, he would have pled guilty and would have accepted whatever sentence the court was going to throw at him. But he's like, no, I'm going to fight this. So we're going to let a jury determine if I'm guilty or not. These statements were published far and wide, initially with print media Rolling Stone and TMZ, and later on a show called Sid and Friends in the Morning. Several other news media outlets republished defendants' propaganda. The statements above were false, malicious, and have caused plaintiff extreme reputational, emotional, and financial harm that must be remedied. All right, so we know who the parties are. So law firm, ASAP Rocky, and whoever defendants are 1 through those 1 through 50. All right, let's see. General allegations. Let's see what we got. ASAP mob. Plaintiff and Mr. Mayers were recording artists that are part of a musical group known as ASAP Mob, with ASAP representing the motto "Always Strive and Prosper." Members of ASAP Mob are also known by their stage names, preceded by the ASAP prefix. Mr. Mayers is also known as ASAP Rocky, and the plaintiff is known as ASAP Relly. Mr. Mayers Pow Pow's plaintiff. On November 6, 2021, Mr. Mayers contacted plaintiff and requested to meet plaintiff in Los Angeles. Mr. Mayers then proceeded to meet with plaintiff at his location in the Hollywood area. Mr. Mayers initiated a verbal altercation and subsequently pulled out a pow pow and pointed it at plaintiff. Mr. Mayers fired multiple pow pows at plaintiff, which resulted in plaintiff being struck by a pow pow projectile and fragments that caused plaintiff injury. Mr. Mayers then fled the scene on foot. A large portion of the incident, and importantly, Mr. Mayers' pow powing of plaintiff, was captured on video. And that's the video that we all saw. Mr. Mayers is criminally charged. Following an investigation of the incident by LAPD on April 20th, 2022, Mr. Mayers was apprehended at the Los Angeles International Airport after returning to the country from Barbados. On the same day, a search warrant was executed on Mr. Mayers' home. On August 15th, 2022, Mr. Mayers was criminally charged with 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, a semi automatic firearm, a felony that carries a potential custodial sentence of 9 years. In connection with the charges, DA George Gascon stated, "Discharging a pow pow in public place is a serious offense that could have ended with tragic consequences not only for the person targeted, but also for innocent bystanders visiting Hollywood. My office conducted a thorough review of the evidence in this case and determined that the addition of these special firearm allegation was warranted." So that's the reason. So he got charged for um, having the pow pow and actually firing the pow pow at plaintiff, but then also firing it in a public area because innocent bystanders could have been harmed in the incident. Let's see. Plaintiff sues Mr. Mayers on August 10th, and that's what I just read. Plaintiff filed a civil action in the Superior Court of the state of California for the county of Los Angeles, alleging the following: assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligence per se. In the assault action, plaintiff alleged that he was pow-powed by Mr. Mayers and that plaintiff was required to seek medical attention for his injuries sustained as a result of Mr. Mayer's discharging of the firearm. Furthermore, plaintiff alleged that he was in fear for his life when Mr. Mayers brandished the firearm, pointed it at plaintiff, discharged several pow pows, and ultimately injured plaintiff. Plaintiff alleged he was experiencing severe emotional distress. Mr. Tocapina defends Mr. Mayers. On September 15, 2025, I'm sorry, 2022, Mr. Tocopina, through the Tocopina law, filed a general denial to plaintiff's complaint on Mr. Myers' behalf. Normally, when if you file a lawsuit and you or apply to the lawsuit, and this is the other party, the defendant or the respondent, you're going to enter in a general denial. So it's not nothing like, oh my gosh, they denied everything. That's normally what people do when they respond to a lawsuit. On September 19, 2022, Mr. Tocopina, and I say his name messed up all of, but that's all right. Through the Tocopina law, filed an application in LASC to be admitted pro hoc vice. I need to start saying that right. Pro hoc face as attorney of record for Mr. Mayers in the assault action. On October 12, 2022, Mr. Tocopina pro hoc face uh, application was granted. So I'm not sure where this law firm is. I didn't even read the parties to see where there are, but usually you file this type of application if you are an out of state lawyer and you don't have a bar license in that particular state. And you have to work under a California attorney. Defendants, the famed plaintiff, notwithstanding the LAPD's detailed investigation and the pending felonies against Mr. Mayers, defendants commenced a campaign of malicious lies to various news media sources, falsely painting plaintiffs as, among other things, a liar, blackmailer, an extortionist, and a money grabber. Y'all definitely let me know what y'all think about him in the comments because I want to see if you all have the same thought process as ASAP Rocky in this attorney. Do y'all think Terrell, aka what is his name? ASAP Relly? Do y'all think he's a liar, blackmailer, extortionist, and a money grabber? Y'all let me know. Specifically, Mr. Mayers, through his attorneys and agents, including specific. How, why did they put it like this? Specifically, Mr. Mayers, through his attorneys and agents, including specifically the Tocopina defendants, have published defamatory statements as outlined. So let's see, they don't put TMZ in here, Rolling Stone. Let's see, the two main thing. Lord, let's see what they put in TMZ. On or about September 16, 2022, Mr. Tocopina, acting in his capacity as an attorney at Tocopina Law and acting on behalf of and at the direction of ASAP Rocky, gave an interview to the news media publication TMZ that was printed in part in an article titled ASAP Rocky, I Never Pow Powed Him. It's an extortion attempt. A true and correct copy of the TMZ article is attached, and we'll get into that shortly. It says the TMZ article opens ASAP Rocky is clear. He did not pow pow ASAP Relly, pushing back against his accuser, whom Rocky says is simply trying to make a cash grab. In the TMZ article, Mr. Tocampina is reported as stating that Rocky did not commit a crime. It was an extortion attempt from a former associate who threatened to make false criminal accusations if Rocky did not pay him. All right, so this is pretty much what we've already read. Um, the explicit and implicit message communicated by Mr. Tocampina was that one, plaintiff is a liar. Two, Mr. Mayers did not pow pow plaintiff or discharge a firearm. Three, plaintiff was not injured in the altercation by Mr. Mayers' discharge of his firearm. Four, plaintiff was attempting to extort Mr. Mayers. Five, plaintiff threatened to make false criminal accusations unless paid by Mr. Mayers. Six, plaintiff made the whole incident up to get rich quick. These statements were false, designed to tarnish plaintiff's reputation and image, and defendants knew that the statements were false at the time they were made. So that was based off of what was said in TMZ. In the Rolling Stone, let's see what they named it. All right, so it was authored by Nancy Dillon. Title: ASAP Rocky lawyer says jealous. ASAP really fabricated pow powing in attempt at extortion. Let's see what they said. ASAP Rocky is a victim of a failed shakedown and fabricated pow powing accusation orchestrated by his jealous former friend ASAP Relly. All right, this is stuff that we've already read. So we know that based off of the TMZ articles and the Rolling Stone articles, everything that was said by the attorney was false. And the things that the attorney said made it seem, so how can I put it this way? You know how when celebrities do things and the attorneys speak to the public, they speak to us, and they pretty much say things to kind of sway the public opinion. And based off of what Mr. Tokenpina was saying about ASAP Rocky, ASAP really was feeling some type of way, and he feels that the statements that were made were not only false but also defamatory. those statements affected him financially. It affected his reputation. It affected him emotionally. That's the reason why he filed the assault and battery and intentional infliction of emotional distress. But here he's saying now those words were defamatory. Oh man, here we go. So the defamatory statements are republished because anytime other people start sharing it, that's republishing. So let's see. Defendants' blatant lies in the TMZ article and Rolling Stone article spread far and wide and were reprinted and republished in several publications, including without limitation to the following. Let's see. Vibe magazine said ASAP Rocky lawyer calls alleged pow powing claim an extortion attempt. BET titled theirs ASAP Rocky lawyer says ASAP really fabricated Pow Pounding to extort him. They also add that Relly is jealous. The Root stated ASAP Rocky responds to 2021 Pow Powing case allegations. Rocky did not pow pow him by any stretch. The rapper defense lawyer Joe Tocopina said in a statement. What is that? SOHH. Why do I know that? ASAP Rocky's lawyer claims ASAP really lied about Pow Powing incident to extort money. Complex published ASAP Rocky responds to ASAP Relly's lawsuit accusing rapper of pow powing him. Daily Mail titled theirs ASAP Rocky claims he is being extorted and did not pow pow friend and accuser during argument in Hollywood. In particular, Token Penal Law republished the TMZ article and Rolling Stone article on its website, thereby adopting and ratifying Mr. Token Pena's statements contained herein or therein, attached hereto as exhibits 3 and 4. Okay. Um I'm just going to sit back and see how this case plays out because really, I don't think you have a defamation case. But hey, who am I? Who am I to say? Who am I to say? Oh man! So now a radio interview on September 26, 2022. Mr. Tokapina acted in his capacity as an attorney at Tokapina Law and acted on behalf of and at the direction of ASAP Rocky. Gave an interview to Sid and Friends. Um, Let's see. So in the radio interview, Mr. Tokapina stated the following. Rocky has been accused of assaulting someone with a pow pow. A former friend of his, someone who clearly became jealous of Rocky and accused him of assaulting him with a pow pow. I will tell you this, if they don't dismiss the case, we will be going to trial because he is not guilty. It is a clear extortion play. I have proof of extortion before the charges were brought. He's asking for millions and millions of dollars. We have this memorialized rock solid, and it is a shame that they brought this case. This explicit and implicit message communicated by Mr. Tokenpina is in the context of the pending court cases and defendant's media campaign against plaintiff was that once again defendant is a liar. Miss ASAP Rocky didn't pow pow or discharge the firearm. Plaintiff fabricated the whole incident. Plaintiff initiated the altercation. Plaintiff attempted to extort ASAP Rocky. Plaintiff threatened to make false criminal accusations unless ASAP Rocky paid him. These statements were false, designed to tarnish plaintiff's reputation and image, and defendants knew that these statements were false at the time that they were made. So now he is claiming that he has been receiving unaliving threats and he suffers from extreme distress. So, as a result of defendant's malicious publication of the false and defamatory statements identified herein, plaintiff has received several unaliving threats on social media and otherwise has been the subject of ridicule and abuse, has lost esteem in the community, and has suffered extreme emotional distress and other damages. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I really didn't even know who ASAP really is. I only thought it was just ASAP Rocky, to be honest with you. I think I've heard ASAP really one time before I even read this case. Number two, I hope that he took screenshots of these unaliving threats that were made on social media. That will also help his case as well. Um, so he's suing for defamation against the Tokapina defendants. So that's him, as well as, let me see. Oh, I was like, I know you're not trying to include TMZ and Rolling Stone and Sid and Friends in the Morning. I don't think so. No. Let me see. So pretty much y'all know how defamation works, that the other individual or the defendants should have known that these statements were false. And one way they can do that is by doing their research before speaking on the matter. Okay. Um, but because plaintiff is alleging that they did not do their due diligence before putting out these statements, um, they have now damaged his personal brand, his goodwill in the community as a member of ASAP Mob. He has emotionally suffered. He is distressed. His potential income and goodwill associated with lost opportunities because of the negative publicity that he received because of these statements being out there. He has to really prove this. So defamatory defamation against Topeka and the law firm, and the attorney, defamation against ASAP Rocky, because he was the one pretty much telling. Now you have to prove that. He can't say that Rocky told him to, say these things. But then again, are they really defamatory though? And that is something that you would have to learn in the criminal side of things. Because what if they ruled that ASAP Rocky did not commit a crime? Or he only, showed the pow pow but didn't fire the pow pow? There's a whole bunch of stuff that has to happen. But what if he didn't even get hurt? Then do you really have a defamation suit? Yeah, and what the attorney said, they had two eyewitnesses, and I think those were the individuals that was with ASAP Rocky. I'm not going to go this because this is a lot. He's asking um for damages against Topeka, damages against ASAP Rocky. He's asking for punitive damages in both cases. He's asking for them to pay the cost of court to bring forth the suit and whatever relief the court deems as just and proper. So these are just the publishings from, TMZ and Rolling Stone. Yeah, he's not too happy with that. So that's normally what they do, is they will sit here and they will put all of the articles that were published, to say, hey, these are the people who actually put this news out here, and here are the people who actually republished this. All right, so that's the defamation suit. All right, let's hop in briefly to the last one. So the first one, Terrell filed against ASAP Rocky for assault and battery. The second one was a defamation lawsuit. And now this one is State Farm. This is ASAP Rocky's homeowners insurance. They ended up filing a suit not only against ASAP Rocky, but also Terrell, or ASAP Relly. The crazy part is, in December, they went ahead and dismissed ASAP Relly, aka Terrell Efron, from the suit. So it's just State Farm against ASAP Rocky. Let's see. Now, here's the crazy part. The incident happened November 6th, 2021. So it says State Farm issued homeowner policy to Rakeem Mayers, which was effective from April 10th, 2021 to April 10th, 2022. And they even attached it. But it so here is the policy, because if this is negligence and it happened on his premises, will State Farm be liable for anything that happened to Terrell and any other innocent bystander? So their clause, this is what it states in the State Farm Policy Agreement. If a claim is made or a suit is brought against an insured for damages because of bodily injury or property damage to which the coverage applies, caused by an occurrence, we will pay up to our limit of liability for the damages for which the insured is legal liable. We will not pay for criminal restitution and provide a defense at our expense by counsel of our choice. We may make any investigation and settle any claim or suit that we decide is inappropriate. Our obligation to defend any suit ends when the amount we pay for damages to affect settlements or satisfy a judgment resulting from the occurrence equals our limit of liability. I'm not going to read all of this. I'm just going to tell y'all exactly what that means, because this is my forte. So, this here, if Tyrell filed a claim because he was injured, well, I don't know exactly where he was injured, if he was actually on his property, but if he was on his property and he was injured, he can file a claim with the property owner's insurance company. The company will determine two things, right? They're saying, okay, they can work out some type of settlement agreement if Terrell says, okay, here are my medical bills, here are my medical records, I was injured, this is what happened, pay me. They will negotiate. That's one part of it. The second part of it is, let's say Terrell did not agree with the monetary settlement amount. Then he could say, okay, I'm taking you guys to court and we can see what we can do from there. Because I'm pretty sure with that assault and the battery case, this is where it stemmed from. It's just like a car wreck case, right? You get into a car wreck, it's not the person who was driving the car that pays you, it's their insurance company. So that's the same thing here. It's like a premises liability. So because I got hurt on your property, you per se is not going to be paying me, but your insurance company. But Terrell trying to get his cake and eat it too. So he trying to get money from ASAP Rocky and the insurance company. But going back to this, so let's say Terrell did not want that settlement amount and he goes into litigation. So what State Farm would do is they will have a litigating adjuster and a legal department that will handle the litigation portion of it, and they would actually have to hire an attorney to oversee that litigated case. Now, here's the thing: if the defendant did not have a an attorney, then the insurance company or State Farm, what they're saying, will actually hire an attorney of their choice to represent the defendant in this case. All right. Now here is the kicker with this. They're not going to, if it was resulting in anything criminal, it's not going to apply. And it says it right here. State Farm policy excludes coverage as follow: bodily injury or property damage that was a result of a willful or malicious or criminal act or omission of the insured, was attended by the insured, or would have been expected by the insured based on the reasonable person standards. However, exclusions 2 and 3 do not apply to bodily injury. Okay, that's reasonable force to protect person property. So that's a different thing. That's if he had to do, if he was protecting his property, than that. But otherwise, because this was a criminal act, State Farm is not going to cover this. He's not going to be insured. Therefore, Terrell ain't getting paid. Terrell ain't getting paid by State Farm. Now, why State Farm decided to file a lawsuit and try to get a piece of the pie with ASAP Rocky, I have no clue. I have no clue. So let me read on to this and see. There is a criminal case pending filed on August 15, 2022 against Mayor and the intentional pounding of Efron, where Mayers is facing 2 criminal charges of felony assault with the semi-automatic firearm. He's currently out on a $550,000 bond. On August 25th, 2022, on behalf of Mayors. All right, so his business manager, Thomas Kingsley, tendered defense on the underlying civil lawsuits complaint to State Farm pursuant to the State Farm policy. On September 14, 2022, State Farm agreed to provide a defense to Mayors subject to a reservation of rights based upon the State Farm policy provisions referred above. A true and correct copy of State Farm's reservation letter. Okay. Um. Oh. Okay. So I'm seeing what happened. I am seeing what happened. So his business manager, Aesop Rocky's business manager, pretty much went to State Farm and said that we are being sued. So that first civil case that I read with the assault and battery, he ended up saying ASAP Rocky needs an attorney. And they actually retained an attorney. I think that's what happened. They retained an attorney, and then they ended up finding out that it was a criminal case. Well, the injuries resulted from a criminal act, and that is something that they do not cover. So now State Farm has to go back and recoup whatever funds they spent in order to defend him in this first lawsuit right here. So that is why State Farm has came into play. So it's crazy because I don't think that it's ASAP Rocky's fault, because he has a whole business manager that thought that he can. I don't know why he thought. You know, the crazy part is not a lot of people read their policy and the terms and conditions. And he probably was not aware that he would be able to hire defense under State Farm and other in order to cover him in this particular civil matter. But because this stemmed from a criminal activity, State Farm shouldn't even in the first place been able to get an attorney on behalf of, or well, to represent ASAP Rocky. So now State Farm is going after ASAP Rocky to recoup whatever uh funds they spent on trying to defend him in this particular case. Whoo wee. So as of right now, that is what's going on. So a very quick rundown. ASAP Rocky criminal trial starts on the 21st. That's when the jury selection starts. He has 3 pending lawsuits. Well, not pending, they're active. The assault and battery civil case is actually going to be at a standstill because how the criminal side plays out will determine how plays out. The State Farm case is going to depend on how the assault and battery civil case plays out. Because once again, State Farm has to recoup what they spent trying to defend him in this assault and battery civil case. I know it's like a freaking, you need a map. And then we have the defamation, right? So they really going to have to determine if the things that ASAP Rocky's attorney Tacopina actually stated was defamatory, or was it true. So hopefully that gave you guys a whole rundown. If you have questions, definitely leave them in the comments below and I will try my best to get to them, because I want all of us to be on one accord when this trial starts. And then we can go ahead and see how these civil cases will actually turn out once that criminal case is over. Tell me what y'all think is going to happen in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until then, you guys be blessed, and I'm out. Bye.